Well, welcome back, everybody. My name is Mark Rogers, and with me, as always, is James Andersen. James, today we are talking about AI, the good, the bad, the ugly, and how it relates to financial advisors' practices and marketing.
Such a big topic.
It's a big topic. It's evolving. Holy cow! You watch so many things on TikTok and Instagram and major talking heads that have fully adopted AI. So many great things that AI can do and the efficiencies. But at the end of the day, we are in a relationship business. So, James, tell us, you're the marketing guru here. Is AI taking over one's business? Should it be a part of your business? Or is this something you should run for the hills for?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think it is here to stay. I don't think AI is going to go away. But it is definitely not an end-all be-all. I think one of the biggest concerns about AI is what is truth and what is not. You probably saw there was some pictures going around the web after the election, after Trump won, with him and some of the people in his campaign. His son, I think Elon Musk, was there, and it was all showing them on a jet eating a hamburger from
Oh,
McDonald's.
I did see that.
All fake.
That was fake?
That's AI.
Dude, that looks so real.
It looked totally real. There's videos now that you can record your voice and put it into AI, and it will mimic your voice, and then you can give it scripts, and it will create videos, or it can do different things. But still, the question is what's real and what's not, what's truthful and what's not. When it comes to advisors and their planning, we'll talk today about where AI maybe makes a lot of sense and maybe where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. At the end of the day, though, it's all about relationships. And the problem where we're seeing, it's not just financial advisory in this industry, but most businesses that are implementing AI, is the struggle to figure out how to create the relationship while using AI. So we'll dig into that today, but I think those are some of the biggest concerns, is just reality, what is truthful, what's not, how do you know? And because of that, there's regulations that are coming down on AI. And then how do you use AI to help build the relationship?
So let's start with, what are the good things that AI has done, and maybe some of those resources and tools, like put it into practice for us for a second, of how advisors should actually be utilizing AI. Where do you see that useful in today that is not going to get somebody in trouble or incorrectly used?
So being a marketer, naturally, I utilize it a lot in marketing. Use ChatGPT probably every day for different things.
Okay.
And it is so helpful. It's amazing what you can do with AI in that regard. I will say that the reason I use it every day is because I'm actually trying to train my ChatGPT to understand the outputs that I'm looking for. So just like a production process, your outputs are as good as your inputs, right? You've got to have a good input in order to produce a good output. With ChatGPT or some of these other tools that are out there, let's take the example of creating a podcast. We never script a full podcast. It needs to be naturally flowing. But there are things that you can do to create like outlines or flows for your podcast, so you kind of have a general flow of how you want to go about it. You can do research on how to find topics that are relevant to your market and to your niche. But you have to train it to know what to look for. You also have to train it on what's not good and what's not, what doesn't work, so that you can consistently pump out good quality content. Regarding emails, things that are written, emails, blogs, things like that, articles, I would say AI is good. It probably gets you about 80% of the way there. But it's always really nice to just put on that personal touch, right? And you could say 90, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it doesn't get you 100% of the way there. Just before we recorded this, we had an advisor come in and we were recording some podcasts with him, and we wanted to do a little teaser intro, and we had 10 minutes to put something together. So I sat down on ChatGPT. We had done some other episodes with him. So I took all of that information from all the other stuff that we had done, and I put it in to say, here's the context of what we're looking at. Here's what this advisor is all about. Here's his background. Now help me come up with a 2-minute intro. And because of time, we did use it 100%. But on the fly, he was kind of modifying it a little bit to make it his own. And that's important, right? Again, we talk about connection. AI is so helpful because it'll help speed up your processes. It'll help you with creativity. Sometimes you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know what to say. I'm not a writer myself. Like I would never say that I'm a copywriter. But I kind of have an idea of the type of tone I want to use, or the type of messages that I want to send, or the type of topics that I want to talk about. And so I'll use ChatGPT to come up with a lot of different ideas for emails, ideas for blogs, ideas for podcasts. I'll use it to say, I want you to go act as a researcher, a market researcher. Go find what are some of the most search topics around this thing across the web, and then source it. Find some articles, because I want data back. I want to be able to go and look at those articles. So GPT will go out and it'll start to search. Let's say I wanted to do some podcasts on tax planning. I'll say, go out and find some of the most searched terms regarding tax planning that retirees and pre-retirees will have. And while it doesn't do SEO type work, it'll go out and it'll start to search here some relevant questions. And then I'll say, okay, take these questions and go find some articles that talk about tax planning and retirement. And it'll find 5-10 articles. And I'll say, I want it sourced. I want you to give a summary on what each of these articles talks about. What are the main takeaways that it talks about? What are the key points that it talks about? And in a matter of 20 minutes, I can do research on marketing topics that would have taken me hours or days to do just by myself. Mm-hmm. And so from that side of things, from marketing, it's so helpful because it really speeds up that process. But when it gets to the point where you're going to put something in front of your consumer, you'd better make sure it's yours, and you'd better make sure it's your own, because at the end of the day, that's what they buy. Especially in this industry, they buy the advisor.
Yeah. Do you think that somebody loses kind of their own voice? Is that what you're kind of saying? And people can feel that it's not them actually writing it?
Yeah, in part, I think that's really true. If they have an experience, the optimal experience is that they're there in front of you, sitting side to side like we are here. If that's the optimal scenario, how do you create that feel through digital exposure, emails, text messages, videos, podcasts, whatever, seminars? How do you do it? Webinars? The goal is to build that connection. However you're touching these people, right? However you're connecting with them, however you're dripping on them, you still want to build that connection so that they meet with you. We have advisors that say, well, I do virtual appointments, or I do only in-person appointments. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you still have to connect with that person for them to be willing to say, yep, here's my $1 million nest egg or $5 million nest egg or whatever. I want your help managing it. And so connection is always the bottom line in marketing. The hard part in marketing is how to make it feel like it really is yours. And it's not just generic. Doesn't sound like every other advisor, because that is a turnoff to consumers, right? In fact, we see this problem when you go, there's platforms out there, there's companies out there that will sell you, $300, $400, $500 a month subscription, and you have their library of content. Uh-huh. It's all the same. It's all generic. And at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything to establish you as the authority figure to your end consumer. And it actually makes you look status quo, which is the opposite of what you want in your marketing. And when using AI, you can run into that pretty quickly if you're not careful. And again, that's where the prompt from the beginning becomes so important, because you've got to train it to think like you. You've got to train it to sound like you, which means you need to spend some time inputting stuff into it to train it, to make it sound, to know you, and almost more importantly, to know your consumer, so that when you say, hey, we want to create an email series promoting XYZ around topic XYZ for these people, you can put in the inputs and it will come out with something that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's interesting. You brought up something earlier that I was going to comment to. I had an advisor. I was in his office, and we were talking about really getting a podcast started. One of the things that he hadn't implemented was a lot of just digital thought leadership, brand building out. Didn't have a YouTube page, things like that. And so we were talking about a podcast. So he was all excited. Like, oh, dude, I got this great thing that I found. Like, oh, well, what do you have? And he showed me this app, this AI app, that essentially you sit down and records so many minutes of your voice, and then he could submit or write through AI a podcast that it would then turn and take that. And he's like, see, listen. And he started to play the podcast, right? So you never want to tell somebody, oh, that's such a terrible idea. But sometimes when it comes to marketing, I sort of can't help myself because I don't want somebody to waste time or go down the rabbit hole. He played what was his AI voice doing the podcast, and there's just no personality. It was so cold. There were no personal experiences because you can't necessarily weave that into the story. You can't fluctuate your voice like you normally would when you are really passionate about something. It was just somebody sitting there reading the same script, going through it. And to me, I love podcasting for the format that I don't have a bunch of notes. I got my phone with a couple of things that I want to say, right? That kind of help me structure. But what I love about podcasting, and why I think certainly coming out of the pandemic, why Rogan and all these other major podcasts that have kind of completely changed the world, is people want to see you. They want to hear what you have to say naturally, what you have to say. And it doesn't feel disingenuous. It doesn't feel so scripted that you're so structured. People really want to do business with real people that care, that have those same concerns, that go through the same challenges of life. People want that backstory. People don't want to sit there and just be sold. And to me, if you were going to put something out like a podcast, like a webinar, or things like that, where people can naturally learn to get to know you, doing it through AI doesn't have it doesn't shake a stick at you being able to produce your own original thoughts and your own original story. I'm with you. There's so many great things that AI can help you do. I don't want to sit here in a minute, but I'm going to say it. AI helped me write my, happy anniversary, what I wrote in my card. Sorry, Stace. My son Carson wrote a beautiful poem to his grandmother over Mother's Day that now he's got to keep using ChatGPT to write because all of a sudden, grandma thinks Carson, my 14-year-old, is a natural poet, right? So there's so many great things that it can do. And I think that it really can help. But I'm even thinking, James, so many advisors want to think, oh, I can build a webinar, or I can build an ad that somebody clicks on and then engages. And that technology's been out, right, for kind of a long time. I think of all the auto dealerships or people's websites that you go to, and you have the fake person that pops up in the corner and, hey, what can I help you with? And you got a level of engagement that you can do back and forth with that person. I've never used it. If I have, it's always been frustrating. When I call into Verizon, when I call into major companies that I'm always doing the get me a live person. And I'm young. I'm young enough in a generation that should be utilizing AI to help me get through a lot of that stuff. At the end of the day, I want to talk to the person at Delta. I want to talk to the person at Marriott. I want to talk to the person, at Ford or other places because I care about those things. I'm one that I love going and walking into Nordstrom. I love the feel of Nordstrom. You feel great about what you're buying. It's a little bit more expensive, but I've got a person there. And when I walk in, they know me. They know how to help me. They want to tell me about the latest designer. I get excited about that kind of stuff and that experience. And you know what? When I think about an independent financial advisor who has chosen a life to typically put their last name on the door, right? They didn't choose Merrill Lynch or a major firm.
Yep. Totally.
They chose, if my last name's Rogers, right? Mark Rogers, if I chose to put Rogers Financial on that door, well, then the people that I'm attracting typically value that same relationship. They value the fact that they're doing business with you. It's why I've been so clear about when you write content, when you post and want to drip an article or you want to send out something to your clients, it has to come from you because that's who they're deciding to do business. Gone are the days that you do a social media post, okay, that you repost somebody else's article as though it's your article. No, you write the article. You talk about it. You show your voice. You personally deliver that value.
You know, it's interesting. We see this actually in a lot of different industries, right? We often pay a premium for either a better quality experience or imperfection in the sense. And what I mean by that is think of Etsy, right? Totally different platform, totally different niche and industry, but you have handcrafted goods that are sold on Etsy for a lot higher cost than you could buy it on, say, Amazon or from China. Why? Why would Etsy, where it's, in terms of the system, it's inefficient, it's imperfect, it's handcrafted, whatever, but there's a premium for that because it's real and you know that it's genuine and it's usually higher quality or it's a better experience overall. So it's not uncommon across in society, across industries, whatever, for us to pay a premium for either a better experience or a more customized approach in whatever it is that we're doing. And we see that in advisory. AI is not necessarily going away, but I can tell you that your compliance officer is concerned about AI, right? I mean,
dig into that for a second.
Well, they still won't even allow us to do texting automations where it's already preset. We know exactly what we're going to send. There's a lot of compliance departments that are hesitant to do that unless it's totally archived and they can see all the text beforehand and approve them beforehand. You can't do that with AI, right? That's not the nature of AI. That's why AI is there, is to be able to facilitate that conversation. We actually tried this a couple of years back. We were doing marketing automation and we tested AI chatbots with appointment booking. And appointment booking only. I said, we do not want to get in the realm of advice. We don't want to get in the realm of talking about anything else outside of trying to get somebody to schedule an appointment. And it's pretty remarkable what you can do, actually. You can have a chatbot, you can run a campaign, and depending on how they reply back, you can say, awesome, well, let's go ahead and schedule a time. Like you could say something like, hey, Mark, I'm following up from our last seminar. Saw that you still haven't booked your free consultation or your lab session or whatever it was. Do you want to get that taken care of today? Can we get you scheduled? And they reply back with sure or yes. Yeah, that'd be great. Then you can say, awesome. We've got some time on Tuesday or Wednesday from this time or that time. Which one would work best for you? And you can reply back and say, Wednesday at 3 p.m. works great. Okay, great. We've got you scheduled, and it will schedule it on the calendar. You know what the issue we ran into all that was? It didn't pass compliance because you can't control what it was saying. And then we also found inaccuracies in the responses that in certain replies, people would come back and it wouldn't know exactly what to do. And so do I think that will all get better and improve over time? Absolutely. I think it will. A guy on my street, he's a day trader and has a fund that he's started a few years back. He would love to have an AI algorithm that would go out and follow his rule set that he has for how to make a trade and follow his guidelines or whatever, and just hit play and let it go run the trades. But that also comes with a cost. What if the algorithm messes up? how much money is lost. And when you're managing a fund, who's responsible for that? You, the fund manager, is. And so you even see with wealth managers and asset managers, fund managers, where they're hesitant actually to go all in on AI because of accountability. They don't want to come back with some claims against them and then lose their licenses. And so while AI is here to stay, and we'll see improvements over time, there's no question. It'll evolve and it'll get better. And so from that front, I think, yes, it will continue to evolve and get better, but you still come back to the reality of we're dealing with people's money. They want to know that they're dealing with a real person. When we call up a store, don't you hate getting just the roll around auto attendant that never gets into an actual customer service representative?
Drives me crazy.
And then when you get in with them, it's just like 10 people deep. You never get to the actual person that can solve your problem. So we would pay a premium to be able to work with somebody that can solve our problems. And at the end of the day, for the advisors, the independent advisors who are trying to tout that they are the holistic planners, that they look into all these scenarios and they help you put together a legitimate plan, there's always going to be room and value for those advisors. Might they be able to automate or enhance some of their business processes? Sure. But are they ever going to be replaced? I don't think so.
So where do we go from here? How do we know how to do an AI audit of systems, processes, and what should an advisor take the next step on if they want to learn more?
You can go down the rabbit hole in a million different ways. I think the thing that advisors should ask themselves, business owners, advisors should ask themselves is, what areas of my business are creating bottlenecks for us? Okay. And can that be automated in some way? Or can that be enhanced through the use of tools, AI tools and whatnot? If it can, then let's look into digging into those, whether it's marketing, whether it's bookkeeping, whether it's whatever else. Figure out where the bottlenecks in your business are. And then 2, figure out where you can add in customized personal touch. I mean, being a marketing person and a drip marketing person, automations person, I love automations. It makes our life easier. But I'll be the first one to tell you that you should never automate everything. You can systematize everything, but you shouldn't automate everything. You do need to have that place for personal touch. And we've talked about this on plenty of episodes where you've showcased examples of advisors, for instance, holding events, whether it's a retirement event or a birthday event or a photo type of event. There's plenty of advisors who add personal touch into their processes, and it makes all the difference in their practice. It keeps the higher net worth clients there for longer, and it builds a closer relationship. In fact, I would actually venture to say that if an advisor looked at their book of business and they were to categorize it into transactional relationships versus or transactional clients versus relationships rooted clients, I would venture to bet, and I don't have any stats on this, so don't hold me to this, but I would guess that your highest net worth clients fall under the bucket of relationships, and your lowest net worth clients or the headache clients fall under the bucket of transactional clients. The ones that are just there for transaction, whereas these ones are rooted in the relationship, the trust, the customization, the personalization. And it'd be an interesting exercise actually to sit down with the advisors and put it into those 2 buckets, because I bet 100% of the time, 90% of the time, let's just say, that your highest value clients are going to fall under that side. And so, again, I think that what do the advisors do? Figure out where you can enhance your bottlenecks in your business, identify what those bottlenecks are, and see if you can automate some of those processes. But also, and almost more importantly, figure out how you can add more personalization and customization into your business relationships with your clients.
You know, like I said before, this is a business that is built on the foundation of personal touch. When I think about Americans, like my grandfather, working in the, you know, the labor, right? Working in the mills and all that stuff. Like people, white collar, blue collar, all across the board, work so hard today. And we are handling such an important aspect that they feel like they've finally gotten there. They're getting close. They're ready to finally live that dream of retirement and travel and have those experiences with their spouse. Like we're in such a great place to do that. To think about handing that off to something that we can't really control, that we can't have the passion and the voice when you've chosen a business as an advisor to be in the grind with people through that transition, through those hard times, through people passing away, loved ones passing away, all those things. Like you've chosen that life to be there for them. And the fact that you're trying to figure out ways to let a bot run those emotions is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's not knocking that there's so many good ways to use it. So the reality is, don't lose your voice with your clients, because I think that that's the most powerful tool that you have. Really be passionate about what you do. Use resources where you can to be efficient. I think that's the name of the game today. That's what you've talked about. Use them efficiently, use them correctly. And that takes a lot of weight off or time off of what you're doing. Don't ever lose your voice with your clientele. Don't lose the passion about what you do, why you do it, and utilize purpose. There's tremendous amounts of social science that talks about why do people do what they do. And I think in financial services, unfortunately, for whatever reason, we have too many how conversations. Here's how to invest. Here's how to do a Roth conversion. Yet, when asked and researched, purpose is one of the main motivators of why people do things. And to connect on mutual purpose and really through matters of listening, connect your purpose to their purpose and help them accomplish those goals. I think if we had more why conversations, less how, more why conversations, I think you'd see productivity go through the roof. If you're an advisor and you're listening to this, have more why conversations with the people that you work with that are in your office.
Yeah, totally.
Connect to that why. If you're having clientele come in from a seminar or re-engage people, even your existing clients, have more whys and watch how much more successful you are. Okay, so the call to action here is you're going to call Producers Prospect, or you're going to reach out to us on any social platform that you're watching this. Send us a DM, like, share, listen, re-listen, get educated, sit down with us. We are excited and we're passionate about building structured marketing plans to help you achieve the success, accomplish those goals you've been looking for through true success, through true processes that matter. We want to be there with every step of the way, whether you're an advisor getting overlooked at an existing IMO, or maybe you're with Producers Prospect and you're saying, hey, I want to grow my business more than I'm doing. Gosh, we're here for that. We want to help you. Reach out to us at producersprospect.com and click on Talk to Us Now. Schedule a time with a one-on-one with James and I. We're excited to help you. James, thank you so much for your passion. Thank you so much for the education you shared today. And we're looking forward to growing your practice.